For this project, we're going to make a push stick for a table saw. This project is super quick, very simple to make, and we can simply use a piece of scrap to make it. When it comes to its capabilities, it will create the downward pressure and the forward pressure needed to safely push a piece of wood through the blade of our table saw. Another great feature is if someone catches you talking to yourself in your shop, you can simply say you were talking to your bunny. You don't want anyone to think you're crazy. For this project, I will be using a scrap piece of 1x12 cut at 11 inches. I'm going to completely raise the blade on my saw to its full position. Once I have it raised, I want to make a mark on my wood at the top of the blade. This mark will tell me that this push stick will be safe regardless of how my blade is set. Once I have this mark, I can draw out my outline of where I need to cut with a jigsaw. So now that I have my mark, I'm going to go ahead and do a drawing, which isn't exactly my forte. But when I come up to get ready to draw the handle, I want to make sure I am above this line. So that way I know my hands are free and clear from the blade. So I'm just going to draw my bunny rabbit, and I'm thinking I want to give myself a little, I'm going to give myself just a little bit more handle on this one. And I'm going to make it a little slimmer. So now that I have my bunny drawn, I'm going to make a mark. I'm going to say, let's make it at about, from this side here, let's make it about 4 inches. This mark is going to tell me where I want to stop with my table saw blade, and I'll show you what that means here in a second. The other thing I want to do is I want to make 3 1/2-inch holes. So I'm going to make one here, I'm going to make one here, and I'm going to make one here. These two are to help my jigsaw make these turns with the cut. Now, if you're like me and you don't trust your artistic abilities, there are a lot of good stencils that you can download to transfer onto this piece of wood. I also have a video on how to use your computer to transfer images onto wood if you want to check that out. So I'm going to make my first hole right here. I've got my piece of sacrificial lumber under there so I don't cut into my table. And I'm going to make my next one right here so that my drill bit edge is like right on that curve. So now that I have that done, the next thing I want to do is I want to cut about 1/4 inch out of this to this point right here, because this is the point that's telling me where to stop on my saw blade. Now I'm going to take my project, I'm going to butt it up against the blade, and I'm going to put my rip vents right against the project and clamp it down. Now if you follow any of my other videos, you will know that I want to cut 1/4 inch out of that, so I'm going to use a 5-gallon paint stick for my spacer because it is exactly 1/4 of an inch. At this point, it's just a matter of doing the cut with the jigsaw. So I'm going to cut up to this hole on both sides. Then I'm going to flip the project around because I don't want to cut into my table saw. So I'm going to go ahead and make those cuts now. So now I can take it over to my belt sander and start smoothing all these edges. So there was an area right in here where my belt sander could not get. So I'm going to go ahead and hit that with my disc sander. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use my hand router with the round over bit, and I'm going to go all the way around. The area I do not want to do any round over is this area right here. And I'm going to come in about this far for round over because I don't want to get that either. I want as much surface touching the wood as possible, so I don't want to take away from this area or this area. So now that I have my round over done, I'm going to go ahead and smooth this out. Alright, so I hit it with an 80 grit. Now I'm going to go ahead and hit it with a 150 grit. And the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and do a round over on my hanging hole using my handheld router. I'm going to do a real quick 150 on that just to make sure I don't get any slivers. I'm just going to take a piece of sandpaper and I'm going to roll it up nice and tight. Put it in the hole. And just get the inside of it like this real quick. I'm doing a 120 grit in case you were wondering. And voila. Yeah, that's a good fit too. Take a measurement with your hand when you're drawing it out to make sure you got enough room on your handle. But yeah, shoot, yeah, that's a good fit. At this point, I will leave it up to you if you want to seal it with paint or urethane. Like I mentioned in the beginning, simple and quick. You can spit one of these out in about 20 minutes. Not a bad time investment for protecting your fingers from the blade of your table saw. Feel free to ask any questions in the comments section, and I will get to them as soon as I can. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit the bell icon to be notified of new episodes as they become available. You can support my ramen addiction by making a donation to my channel. Link will be in the description. If you are just learning the woodworking hobby, check out my Woodworking for Beginners video series. Link is in the description. Until next time, keep it safe.